Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my review and discussion of Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare, Rees Brennan, Maureen Johnson and Wasserman. This is a bind-up of 10 short stories that happen in the Shadowhunter Academy for a character after the end of the Mortal Instruments. I'll not be revealing who the character is and who's the main character in this one is because it will spoil the Mortal Instruments for you if you have not read it. Also, while reviewing this book, I'll not be doing it in a normal format in which I do, like plot, characters, pacing, magic system and such, because this is a short story collection and there's nothing to be talked about a plot in particular way. It'll spoil it in a way if I do it in that way. So I'm just going to talk about certain things which just make up the short story wind up a really good thing to read. Also, while I read this, I was able to see how much better it is compared to the Bane Chronicles. I thought that the Bane Chronicles would be better than the Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, but Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy is way far better compared to the Bane Chronicles. I can even say that it's better than Immortal Instruments as a whole because I just loved the entire time reading this. Also, while reviewing this one, I'll not be letting out spoilers for the Mortal Instruments or the Infernal Devices, but when I get into the discussion, I'll be talking about spoilers for both the main series, and when I do get into spoilers, I'll let you guys know. So without any further ado, let's get into the review right now. Now, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy is a bind-up of 10 short stories, as I said before, and most of these short stories happen between the Mortal Instruments and the Dark Artifices, but there are also stories which happen between the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices, also in between the Infernal Devices and the Last Stars. Some short stories occur within the Last Stars itself. There's one short story which happens between the Last Stars and the Mortal Instruments. So the timeline throughout this book just changes rapidly, but I'm sure that if you've read both the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices, you will be able to catch up with everything that the author is trying to say. The bind-up is just so excellent. As in the Bane Chronicles, there are certain short stories which are not aligned properly. That is, the first two short stories in the Bane Chronicles are totally boring, and after that they become better and better towards the end. But it is not at all like that in the Tales of the Shadowhunters Academy. Even from the short story itself, a lot of suspense and build-up is given, and it all pays off very excellently towards the end. Though it seems like a collection of short stories, it just has an overarching story that is present throughout. Okay, the main character in this one, whom I said that I'll not name, his growth is just so excellent. It's obviously a he, you can see from the cover itself. Also, if you're going to read this book, please, if you want a review of this book in a spoiler-free way, if you've not read the Mortal Instruments, please don't read the blurb of the book because the first word itself will spoil the Mortal Instruments for you. So please don't do that for yourself. Also, if you've read City of Bones alone, I'm sure that you'll be able to guess who this character is based on the t-shirt that he wears, the weapon that he's using, that is a bow and arrow. Okay, there are two characters who use a bow and arrow in City of Bones, and one of those characters ends up saving all the other characters. This is that character, and I'm not going to name him. I should also say that he's one of my top 3 favorites from the Mortal Instruments series. Also, it is a really good story. It's not just about that single character, but all the other main characters inside the Mortal Instruments series as well, and it's a really good short story collection put together. Another very interesting thing about Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy is that it's a very great bridge in between the Mortal Instruments and the Dark Artifices. I have not yet started reading the Dark Artifices, but I'm very sure that this is a very crucial book that you have to read in order to understand everything that's going to happen in the Dark Artifices, if I'm not wrong, because I can see that certain things which are said in this one are going to impact the Dark Artifices in a very great level, because both the main characters of the series, Emma Castes and Julian Blackthorn, they have very pivotal roles in this one. There's a single short story that is dedicated partly to them also in this one, which just sets up the stage in a really great way. I'm able to see how things are going to be directed because if I'm not wrong, the cast of characters in the Dark Artifices is very huge compared to the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices, because each and every book is huge, and also the sibling count inside the Dark Artifices itself is very big. I'm very much interested to see that. Also, this book did a great justice of doing it justified the characters in a very great way, if you ask me. All the main characters from the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices, also some of the characters whom we are going to see in the Dark Artifices. Okay, there are certain characters who occur as side characters in the Mortal Instruments that are going to become main characters in the Dark Artifices. I know that much about that series, and I'm sure that they have been given a really good boost in this one book. if you're going to read the Mortal Instruments and just jump into the Dark Artifices as such, I'd not recommend that, because I do think that this book has a lot of crucial information that you have to read and enjoy and understand, because it's just so good in many ways. Another interesting thing which happens inside Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy is that our main character from the Shadowhunter Chronicles itself, Clary Frey, she finds her Parvati within the Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy, and I should say that Parvati wand is going to be the strongest of all that we've ever seen. Okay, it's not going to be weaker than Jason Alex Parvati wand. It's not even going to be weaker than Jem and Will's Parvati wand, if you ask me. I am able to see how much strong it is going to be, because as far as I've seen, that's the best friendship that I've read throughout the series. Okay, it's the longest friendship that has stood through ages and things. The friendship that has endured a lot within the small time that it was present, and it is being present also. I'm very much pumped to read that. Also, apart from the main character whom we see inside the book, some other characters who play very interesting roles throughout are Katerina Loss. Okay, I've always thought that Katerina Loss is one of those characters who has been overshadowed by the many other characters within the series, and I'm sure that she has excellent roles to play in this one. And if people don't recognize her in this one, I'm not sure where they'll be able to understand the importance of that character who's Katerina Loss. She's been one of my favorites ever since I read the series for the first time itself, and this on reading this one, it just doubled in many ways, if you ask me, because she has done a lot of stuff in the past which she reveals in this one that have like changed the lives of hundreds and hundreds of people, if it's not wrong, from my point of view. Other than Katerina Loss, there is this other character called George Lovelace. If you've read the Infernal Devices, you know which family has their name as Lovelace and how it can interact with this story, because the Lovelace who occurs in the Infernal Devices, the character is one of my favorites of all time from that series. The character is not a favorite for many people who have read the series, but I do like the intentions and the things that character does and how the character ends up, and the mention of that character within the Mortal Instruments. All those things tied up very well together, and I was very happy to see one character from that family put into the story, and him being a very great, playing a great role within the story of this main character's story within the entire series. The length of each and every short story varies a lot, but the longest of all the short stories in this one is that of Malek. Okay, Malek have a dedicated short story within this one, which I think it's not the best in my opinion. Okay, there are like other stories which are better than that one, but the amount of time that was given for the to show the growth of all the characters was very perfect. And I'm sure that if you like the Mortal Instruments series, you'll definitely cry while reading that story, because it is very emotional in multiple ways. Okay, there are these particular scenes with all the characters present inside it, which just make it perfect. Okay, it just looks like a family reunion or a friends get together after a very long time. It's just so beautiful to read that, and I just enjoyed it the whole time. The Malek story, I'm sure that if you're a fan of Malek, you'll just enjoy it. Okay, it'll just show how much that relationship has grown and how both Magnus and Alec have grown as individuals. It's just going to be awesome in many ways. Also, I was able to see growth in each and every character. Okay, I'm not going to name them all, but I'm sure that I saw growth in each and every one of those characters. Also, the naming of a child in this one, it was perfect if you ask me, but I do think that someone else deserved that. It was okay. Let's not talk about it. It is a really good short story collection as a whole, and I highly recommend you to read this if you finished reading both the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices, because it's one story which will just engulf you in many ways and make you feel a lot of things if you're a fan of both the series. So that's it for the spoiler free part, and I'm going to jump into the spoilers right now. I'm going to discuss the short stories one by one throughout. So all the 10 short stories are going to be discussed by me. The first one in order is Welcome to Shadowhunter Academy. I thought that was the lightest story of all in this book, because as each and every story progresses, the intensity of the plot increases. The things that we get to know about this world, it's very unique and very different in many ways. It's just different stories happening between different families throughout generations, and I just loved it a lot. The first thing which I loved the most was the school setting of the Shadowhunter Academy, and the best thing about that is that we get to see all of this from the point of view of Simon. Okay, there were two points of views which we got before in the main series. In Mortal Instruments, we get it from the point of view of Clary, who is a bit annoying most of the time, and the next one from the Infernal Devices, it's from the point of view of Tessa is very mature and very very sweet, so I do like Tessa's point of view more than that of Clary. Also, one thing which I liked about this one is that I got to see a male point of view rather than a female point of view, because the main characters in all of these series is a female character. I'm not saying that in a wrong way in any sense. I'm just saying that it was a bit more refreshing to see a male point of view in a young adult story rather than anything. And also, Simon is like one of my most favorite characters of all time in the series, and I'm sure that after finishing Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, he has become my #1 favorite in the Shadowhunter Chronicles as far as I've read until now, because he was my most favorite when I read the Mortal Instruments for the first time, and while I read it for the second time, he was still one of my top 3 favorites. But after reading this one, he's definitely my topmost favorite. After him, Magnus and Isabel are at the same level for me. But the things that Simon sees and we get to the things that we get to see through his eyes, his relationship with Katrina, everything was awesome. The friendships that he forms and the popularity that he has, which he has no knowledge of why he has it. It's just so awesome, and I just enjoyed the whole time Simon getting all the attention that he actually deserves. And also, apart from all these things, we were able to see a lot of politics that were going inside the Shadowhunter world after the war between the Shadowhunters and Jonathan Morgenstern, and it just opened up a lot of doors within this world, if you ask me. And I'm sure that all of those are going to be explored in many ways in the Wicked Powers as well as the Dark Artifices. I have not read the Dark Artifices, and this one has intrigued me to read that a lot faster than I thought I could. And also, apart from all those things, the relationship of Simon and Isabel, how it has to start from point zero and needs to reach that point in which it was while the Mortal Instruments ended. It was a bit frustrating for me because they are my most favorite couple in the series, and the scene in which Izzy comes and threatens everyone inside the academy, saying that no one can look at him because he's her boyfriend. And after that, Simon has a small fight with Isabel. It just showed them as a couple rather than anything else, because this is the time when we get to see Simon and Isabel talking and communicating with each other at last, and I just loved this short story for that itself. The second short story is The Lost Herondale, which was even better compared to the first one. Each and every short story in this one just gets better and better towards the end, but I should say that the ones that are related to the Last of Us and the Infernal Devices are my most favorite. I don't know why. Those characters are not that much close to me, but I feel their stories a lot more consuming for me as a person. The Lost Herondale was very touching in many ways. Especially, we get to know all these stories from Katrina's point of view. Also, that's this development of the relationship between Simon and Isabel again, when Simon goes to his first mission and he's not able to kill a vampire because he gets flashes of his memory that he used to be a vampire, and he cannot kill one person just because they are a downworlder or she's a downworlder. And I'm just able to see all those feelings that Simon has as a mundane and as a downworlder that influence his thoughts as a Shadowhunter, because he was not brought up as a Shadowhunter, and he's the only person who has been all the three in this time. And I just loved it the whole time because he's been in this very perfect order, if you ask me, being mundane, being downworlder, and then becoming a Shadowhunter. It's just so awesome in many ways, if you ask me. Also, the tale of Tobias Herondale that Katrina says, how she saved him, how she saved his child and brought him up and just sent him into the mundane world so that he's not killed by the Shadowhunters and not executed by the Shadowhunters. It was just so touching in many ways. Also, Jace doesn't know that there are like multiple people who are in his bloodline itself living somewhere within this world, and it was very touching in many ways. I do think that the story of Tobias Herondale happened before the Infernal Devices itself, and even Will and Tessa didn't know the story existed, but it was very touching in many ways, and it just fleshed out Katrina's character in many ways, if you ask me. The third short story is The Whitechapel Fiend. This happens just after the Infernal Devices itself, when all the main characters have children. That itself was very refreshing for me to see, because Tessa is like one very sweet character. Cecily is one character whom I like a lot. Gabriel is also one character whom I like a lot. I did start liking Will, but towards the end of Clockwork Angel itself, I didn't like him that much. After that, it just continued as such for me towards the end of the series also. It's not like I hate him, but I don't like him as well. It was like that for me. But seeing all those characters again playing very solid roles inside a story, it was really good. Also, the scope of Jessamine in that particular short story, while she diverts the child's ghost and the people end up killing that child. It was monster. It was very good. I just loved how Jessamine, being a ghost, has been helping the Shadowhunters for this very long, even until the end of the Mortal Instruments. She does make an appearance in the last short story as well. I'll talk about more towards the end, but it was a very well written short story if you ask me. Also, the historical elements that are tied within that short story are also really good in many ways. That is the short story in which I smiled a lot and I laughed a lot because it contained one of my most favorite friendships from this series, which is that of Jace and Simon. I like Jace and Simon's friendship more than that of Simon and Clary, because Jace and Simon's friendship just felt so organic to me. That is, being enemies at first, not liking each other at all, and then developing an affection for each other in a mutual way, and then becoming friends at last. It's not like they are going to be together for all the time, but they care about each other for specific reasons, just for the person that the other person is. And it was very good to see them being friends again, and Jace playing some pranks on Simon and calling him Wiggles. It was very fun to read, and that friendship aspect of Jace and Simon was something which I like a lot, and I liked it being established a lot more in this short story. Short story number 4 is the one which intrigued my interest for reading The Last of Us the most after reading this one, and it is Nothing But Shadows. Okay, it's the story of James Herondale, who's the younger son of Tessa and Will. Okay, I was not at all able to understand Will's son being so different from him, and Tessa's son also being so different from her. The power that he has inherited from Tessa due to her demon blood, and his eyes and his hair, those are the things which have been followed to Jace as well, and I was able to see the connection of the Herondales very well. Also, James Herondale as a character itself, he just gravitated me towards him a lot, because it felt so original for me. Also, the friendship that blooms there also between Matthew Fairchild and James Herondale, just because they don't like each other, just because they are jealous of each other. They think that they cannot be like the other person no matter what happens, and it just felt so organic and real to me. And towards the end, when they decide to become pair with it was just so awesome. Also, I liked Will and Gabriel's relationship also in this one very much, because they are also two characters who hate each other a lot, but towards the end they start understanding each other towards the end of the Infernal Devices itself. Yet they like they like to call each other names, and they like to irritate each other in a very great extent. I just enjoyed reading it the whole time, especially the friendship that bloomed between Matthew Fairchild and James Herondale. It is one thing which I'm expecting to read a lot more about in the Last of Us series, especially in Chain of Gold that I'm currently reading, and I do think that they will become parity, and they will be parity, and let's just wait and see, because that was one of my most favorite short stories that I read throughout. Also, James's ability to transform into shadows, it was shown in the Bane Chronicles also. I don't remember the exact short story's name. I think it's The Air of Midnight, or Midnight's Air, or something like that. I don't remember the exact name of the short story, but these two have tie-ins a lot, and I was able to see that clearly. Short story number 5, The Evil We Love. This was also one short story which was touching in many ways. It has Robert Lightwood's story from the past while he was a child, and also his period inside the circle. Okay, there are two elements which were focused a lot in that short story, and I liked both of them a lot more. One is why Robert Lightwood is like a person that he is right now, and what things shaped him like that. The second one is the start of the relationship between Simon and Isabel. The first thing which I was noting continuously in the short story was that Isabel is a person whom other people might think that the things that she's about to do in this short story, but I'm sure that she's not a person who will do such things. She'll trick other people to think that she will do that, but she'll not end up doing it. It was the exact same way how it ended, and I just liked it a lot how it brought Simon and Isabel together at last. And I was like, finally I'm getting some sissy content and my soul can rest in peace. I was like that writing it, because it was halfway through the book. Okay, it's the 5th short story. There are only 10 totally, and we are getting the communication between these two main characters of the book only halfway through, and I was very happy that it happened. Also, Robert Lightwood's story of how he was a child who was not able to take the runes while he was very young, and he had to take the runes while he was 12 or 13, which is very much older in age compared to the other Shadowhunters. How his will helped him in order to survive and not become a mundane and be a Shadowhunter as such, I was able to see many of those traits of Robert being reflected within Izzy also, because Izzy doesn't like getting help. She likes to stand for herself. I was able to see a lot of both Maris and Robert inside Isabel, a lot more. Also, there were certain things of Robert Lightwood that Alec also has inherited. It was very clear for me. Some insecurity problems that both of them have because of the things that they have faced in life and because of the things that they are. It was very much vibrant. Okay, though it's not wrong. Just because of the fact that other people will not understand it, created that fear within them. It was very prominent. Also, Robert's relationship with Michael Wayland, and that's how that's why mainly he wanted to take Jace into his house and bringing him up as like a, how to say, thing that he has done to correct his past. Also, how he rejected Michael and how it reflected as such in Alec. It was kind of like a karma effect, if you ask me, and I just loved all those things which were tied up and presented to us in that single short story. Next one is Pale Kings and Princes. This is a short story which is totally mainly focused for the Sealies itself. When Simon's team go for a mission again, and in order to save George, Simon gets into the Sealy realm and he's caught in there. Izzy goes and tries to save him, and she's also caught up in there. Afterwards, what finally happens is Mark Blackthorn, he comes and saves them. Before all this happens, Helen Blackthorn, she's brought into the institute, and she's humiliated in many ways. She's taught us a lesson to not trust fairies, and it was just so annoying to read because it just infuriated me in many ways. It was so horrible. Okay, how fragile and how undeveloped a society the Shadowhunters were. It was very clearly shown in that one. Okay, the points of view of different people is different, but as a whole, that there wasn't anything that they stood up towards and stood up against and tried to save one of their population itself. It was so horrible to read about. Also, the way in which the true story of the Sealy was twisted in order to make it favorable for the Shadowhunters. Even Helen and Mark don't know that their mother was the one who loved both of them as well as their father a lot, and there were other reasons due to which their father died and they were sent to the Shadowhunters rather than being with the Sealies. It was very beautiful. Okay, especially that last page of Pale Kings and Princes was the short story which made me literally cry, because I was thinking that okay, just because one Sealy took Shadowhunter inside and seduced him and had kids with him, doesn't mean that all the Sealies are bad. But towards the end, Cassie just twisted everything and just showed us that these are the things, these are the ways in which truth can be twisted in order to sound like lies, and everything that was said in that short story are actually true, but they are just twisted in some way in order to make them sound like a different truth. The actual truth of the Sealy is just said in like a poem at last, and it ends with a line saying that because a Sealy cannot lie or something, and it was just so perfect, and I definitely did cry after reading that short story because it was very impactful in many ways. Bitter of Tongue. Now, the seventh short story is Bitter of Tongue, and it was also a very good short story which included the Fae as well as the things that are going on in a political way in the Shadowhunter world. At last, Helen and Aline get married, and that's the only reason why Helen was allowed to get into the city of Glass, that is Alicante and Idris itself, and after that they are going to be exiled, which was a very horrible thing to be done to anyone. Okay, it just infuriated me in many ways, guys. I can understand it's totally fiction and it's fantasy, but the things that are shown in that one are actually things that happen in the real world and are reflected in this book. Which just made me feel a lot of things, and it did make me angry at a lot of points, and it was just so good. I didn't expect that a short story collection from the Shadowhunter Chronicles would be this good, and it just surpassed itself in many times, if you ask me. Also, the relationship was very beautiful between Simon and Isabel. It kept on developing. Okay, it was not like a rapid thing going on at all. Just like in any other of the Mortal Instruments books also, Simon and Isabel's love story is the most slow burn of all. All the other ships happen very soon. Jace and Clary, we don't even have to say. They've always had the spark. It has always happened from the first book itself. Also, Magnus and Alec, it has happened from City of Moons itself. But for Simon and Isabel, it has not at all happened until at least City of Fallen Angels, and I was very, very happy that two good people, okay, they have sacrificed a lot of things for their families and friends, no matter what, not considering themselves as a person who deserves everything. But I do think that they are the two people who deserve everything within this series, and I was very, very happy to see them get at least some of the things that they deserved in the short story collection, because it was very, very fulfilling, and it made me joyous in many. Number 8 is The Fiery Trial. That was also one short story which just shows how huge this Shadowhunter world is, not just the things that were said in the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices alone. We do get to see how strong the paratype bond is in the Infernal Devices. It's not that much focused in the Mortal Instruments, but in the Infernal Devices it's just shown how strong the paratype bond is. Personally, I don't believe in the concept of paratype, because everyone needs to be able to stand up for their own and must not depend on someone else than themselves. That's my personal point of view, but I'm able to understand the concept of paratype, but I don't believe in it. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think that if I'm a Shadowhunter, I'll not have a paratype. I'll be a single person who doesn't want anyone else to be dependent on me, and not wanting to depend on anyone else. Also, one thing which I loved about this one is that we get to see Simon and Clary finally getting to know that they are meant to be paratype, and they're witnessing Emma and Julian's paratype ceremony. It was one of the best scenes, okay. I was just able to see how much tension is going to be there in the Dark Artifices from that single scene in this short story itself, because it's very, very, very clear that Emma and Julian are attracted towards each other, and there cannot be any romance between paratype, okay. It's clearly forbidden by the rules that the Shadowhunters follow, and I also think that it's a very stupid rule, because I think that if you have this concept of paratype, it's best if the paratype are involved romantically, because no matter what happens, they are going to be together always. They are going to be a family, okay. And obviously you're going to do anything for your family. I think that always, for any person, no matter what, whether a person likes his or her family or not, I'm sure that they'll not think a lot in order to do something good for their family. And it just felt wrong in many ways, because if their paratype was wrong of them being romantically involved in some way or the other, I can see all the things that are going to arise in the Dark Artifices due to that thing that has happened, because Emma and Julian have become paratype here, and that series is set like 3 to 4 years into the future after this one ends, and I'm able to see the tension that it's going to create in that series as a whole. Let's just wait and see, because romance is one of the main aspects that Cassandra Clare focuses on, all the relationships that can be affected from a single romance. I'm able to see what all havoc this can cause, because they are like the caretakers, okay. Emma and Julian are the caretakers for all the other 5 children inside the Blackthorn family. I'm just waiting to see how it's going to proceed. Let's just wait and see. Story number 9 is Born to Endless Night. It's the only Malik short story, and I think that's the longest of all short stories, okay. And I was also happy that it was long, because it had all the main characters from the Mortal Instruments, and it just made me feel all those old days back, because it was very, very nostalgic in many ways. I can see that that story will connect to many people who are fans of the series from the time it was released, because this was published very late into the series, and it does connect with the Mortal Instruments as well as the Infernal Devices in many levels, if you ask me. That one particular short story in which they get that warlock child, and Magnus and Alec have decided to bring him up, and at last they are naming him Max Lightfoot. It was just so awesome in many ways, okay. And I also think that warlocks are allowed to take their own names, and I do think that Max's name might change in the future. I'm not sure. It might change or it might not. Let's just wait and see. And I do think that Max Lightfoot has some main roles to play in the second book in the Eldest Curses, which is the Lost Book of the Wild. Let's just wait and see. I'm not sure. I do think that Max is going to be more like Magnus than Alec, because it seems I can just see something like that going on between Magnus and the baby rather than Alec and the baby. I can see that Alec is more caring as much as Magnus, but I can see something special that's going on between Magnus and the baby, because of the fact that they both have demon blood, or they are both warlocks. Not sure, but I'm definitely sure that there's something good going on between them. Also, at last we get to find there's nothing wrong between Alec and Simon that's been going on. Alec's just been very he's not that much comfortable to talk to Simon, because he feels that he owes him a lot, because he ended up giving himself in order to save the others, and that's the only way by which Alec ended up with Magnus. It was very perfect in many ways, okay. I was able to see the growth of each and every character, from Claire, especially Alec and Magnus and Izzy. Okay, Izzy was perfect. She was the perfect person. She was the perfect person in the Mortal Instruments also. In this one, she just proved how much worth she is, and I just loved her. Okay, at last she was able to have some time with Simon, which was the best. Also, Maris and Robert, how they have also grown as parents for Alec, and how Robert has started to change his views and thoughts and tries to understand his son, and how Alec tries to understand his parents, and how things just start mingling upon them. It was just so beautiful, and I think it's a very coming together short story. It was an amalgamation of all the things that happened in the Mortal Instruments and the repercussions and results of that. It was very beautiful in many ways. Finally, the last short story number 10, and it is Angels Twice Descending. I thought that the book is so awesome. It has made me cry in many places, so I don't deserve a happy ending. I thought like that, but at last we do have a happy ending, but we have a tragic death also. George at last dies. Okay, I was not at all expecting that at all towards the end. I thought that Simon at the point calls that George has been someone whom he has not at all had in his life. He's had a sister, he's had a friend like Clary, he's had a person whom he can care for like Isabel and all the other people inside the gang. But he has not had a brother. Okay, Simon has not had a brother, and he considers George his brother. It was so original to the. It sounded so natural for me, and I was able to understand what was happening between George and Simon, because they've developed this very pure friendship over a very short amount of time, and it was very beautiful to read about. Okay, and I thought that I was sure that Simon was going to take up George's family name. He has this idea of taking about the Lightwood name, but I was like, Simon Lightwood doesn't sound good at all. Okay, I think Simon Lovelace would sound awesome. I was thinking it will happen, but I did not think it will happen in the way it happened at last. George dies, and as a symbol of respect for George, Simon takes up his name, and he also gets all his memories back after ascending. It was so beautiful to read. At last, one scene which just made me cry the most was at last when they go to George's cemetery, and all three of them go, Simon, Clary and Isabel, all of them go to his cemetery, and while they are standing there, Simon is the only one who's able to see the ghost of a girl come near George's grave and take his ghost along with her and go. No one else, Clary or Isabel, are not able to see. Also, I think that this is an it's a foreshadowing of how Will had the ability to see ghosts. Unlike most Shadowhunters, Simon is having that ability to see ghosts, unlike the other people inside the main gang. It's not ever shown like Chase or Clary or Isabel or Alec have had that ability to see ghosts in any of the books until now, and I don't think that it'll be established more on towards the series also, because all of them are almost adults now, except Alec. Alec was already an adult, but the others are technically not adults now. I don't think that it will change afterwards, but I do think that just like Will had that power to see ghosts, Simon is having that, and it's going to be of some use towards the end, at least in the last Wicked Powers or the Dark Artifices. I just need to wait and see how it carries on into the series. And yeah, I just love this as a whole, and if you cannot tell by now, I obviously rated this one 5 stars. If I could rate this one more, I'll rate it even more. This is one book which I could not get enough of, because it was so good in many ways. It just got getting better and better, especially for Simon and Isabel, and I was so happy in the place that they ended at last, and it was just so fun to read. That's all for today, and if you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel, because I publish new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.